One of the things that we're very appreciative of today is Craig and Tracy letting us use this venue. This is one of our favorite restaurants. As you can see, it's quaint, it's nice. One of the reasons why Tara chose this venue is because Craig puts a lot of effort into his cooking. He tries to balance the elements as he cooks. He cooks seasonally. They use local farms, they use local meats. You know, some of the things, I think there's mussels in one of the appetizers. Obviously that's not from Lake Waconia. But maybe he has a mussel thing down there that he gets them from there. But so as you're tasting, today is going to be more philosophical. You know, we're inundated these days with diets, with plans, with, you know, okay, you're this blood type or this body type. You have to eat this or eat that. And the way Tara teaches her system is more philosophical. It's an ancient system. Every culture on the planet had a system of body typing. And what Tara did with this in her book is she brought it into the modern times so that you can understand it in our day and age, in our lingo, in the types of foods that we have and the options we have. Realistically, we have too many options. That's why there's so many problems. Your health is the only thing you have, and that's one of the messages that Tara will bring across. She tends to bring it across very politely. I tend to bring it across very purposefully and harshly. You know, that the only thing you bring with you into your old age is your health. My grandma's sitting here, and I think it was about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, she stopped doing aerobics. So there's quite a history of, in our family, of trying to stay healthy. I remember being in the garden with her when we were young, and Tara will talk about that, seasonal eating and things like that. Tara came from a history of non-health. A lot of people will look at her today and say, oh yeah, it's so easy for you, you know, look at you, you're so fit, you're so trim, you know, this type of thing. And Tara actually had a lot of health issues. When I met her, she didn't even drink water. So that shows you the lack of education that is in our society. And one of the things I'll ask you to do today is forget what science has taught you. Forget what our society has taught you. And open your minds, open your hearts, and listen to how Tara will teach you this system. It's a philosophical system based on intuiting what you need. At some point, this is the most basic level she teaches at here today. And when you rise to the higher levels, you'll be able to walk out in the woods and know which plants to eat. That's where you'll take this philosophy to. So Tara does, one of the features she's doing right now on her Facebook page is called Tara's Healthy Life. And she just gives little insights on a daily basis to how she balances her life. And she takes it very seriously with a little bit of humor. And she knows how much it can mean to people to go from illness to health. And so, with that, let's bring her up here, Tara Bachman.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy to see all of you here. This is probably the class that I most look forward to teaching so far. And I'd say the big part of that is because we're going to experience what I've been teaching. It's not just me talking. And that's what I love. I love to, in my life, learn by experiencing. So I'm very excited to teach through experience and with wonderful food. So as John had mentioned, you know, my childhood as far as health was not all roses. And my grandma's sitting here today, and she's probably thinking, well, you know, you were a pretty healthy child. And I think I looked fairly healthy. But there's always things that we experience on the inside of our body that we know is not quite right. And that's really what encouraged me to get into this health and wellness arena. As for those of you who already have my book, you've seen the pictures and learned a little of my history, that since the age of 9, I've weighed over 100 pounds, which the average 9-year-old weighs actually about 60 pounds. So I was pretty big. I remember, who remembers those standardized physical fitness tests? I hated them. I loathed taking these tests, and I think that's why I became so studious, is because I couldn't ace a physical test, but I had to ace some kind of other test. But I remember coming back from the gym. Remember when you'd occasionally get weighed and you'd do your little sit and reach or the pull-ups. Well, I remember coming back, and that particular day we were being weighed. And I remember I was walking down the hall of the elementary school with my friend by my side, and she was bawling because she had just found out that she weighed 75 pounds. And that very same day, I had also learned that I weighed just over 100 pounds. And so I was consoling her, while inside I'm going, oh my God, how could this be? But this is also why when I'm teaching health and wellness, I also do not focus on weight. Because as I learned about body typing, I also learned that each one of us has a different body structure, a skeleton. My parents said, for example, that I was just big boned, and that's why I weighed more. And that was probably partially true and partially just to appease my sentiments at the time. But I share that because it was a very critical time in my life where I realized, okay, something's not quite right. And I had what would now be diagnosed as probably celiac disease, at least irritable bowel syndrome. I spent many afternoons in the bathroom, and if I hadn't been such a good student, the teachers really would have wondered, what is she trying to get out of? You know, is my class really that bad? And that's something that's very personal. You know, even at the time, it was very embarrassing to raise my hand and have to go to the bathroom all the time. But I share that because there are many more people experiencing that these days, and I've learned a lot about why that happened to me and within my own body. And I think that each one of us can feel very healthy and very vibrant within our own bodies. And it's not about forcing the body to be a certain way or do a certain thing, because that's the route that I later took. You know, what does a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old girl do when she's being told and teased all the time that she's overweight? Well, most of the time they're going to starve themselves. Well, that was me. I went to the very other end of the spectrum. Within 4 or 5 years, went from weighing 40 pounds overweight to about 40 pounds underweight. And that was a really huge example to me in my life about what to do for the body and what not to do to the body. Because after several years, what I realized, all that I was doing was tearing apart my body. Even at 13, 14, I could feel lightheaded and dizzy and sick to my stomach and just without energy because I wasn't giving my body what it needed. And I eventually snapped out of it. Every person comes out of it differently, but I realized at a certain point that I was really harming my body. So the reason I dived into this history so quickly is, as John said, my childhood growing up, I may have looked healthy at certain points, but I really did not feel healthy, whether it was my digestion, my energy level. I couldn't play like normal kids. I remember going just to the monkey bars and trying to hang on and sliding off. Part of that was weight and part of it was strength. And so as an adult, with all this history, what really came to me intuitively is that we need to actually learn about our bodies. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be all physiology and anatomy, but it can be just trying to understand what is it that my body needs. What is my body saying when my stomach gets upset? What is my body saying when I have a headache? What is my body saying when I'm tired at this time of the day? Rather than taking another caffeinated drink, rather than taking another ibuprofen, what is it that the body is trying to say? Now sure, I take an ibuprofen every now and then, but overall I try to understand what my body's trying to communicate. So really, that's what my work is about, is coming from stages in life where I was forcing my body and not understanding my body, to going, okay body, you work for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What can I do for you to help you make me feel better and do all the things that I want to do? And I think what I came to is a greater part of that is self-compassion. Having that feeling of what can I do for my body so that it can help me. So I'm going to share real briefly the introduction, a brief part of the introduction of my book. just to get a feeling for what this is all about. Like John said, this is not all science. It's more of an art. It's more of a philosophy, and you'll get to experience this today as we're eating the food. So this is from the introduction, introducing a new way to think. We know ourselves chiefly by hearsay, which is something that Eric Hoffer said, who was an American social writer and philosopher in the 19th century. This book is meant to help you understand the uniqueness of your body and health situation. It will also give a good foundation of self-understanding from which you can learn and or continue to take a more active role when it comes to your health. Most of all, you, dear reader, will feel more confident in the relationship you have with your body and how to create a wonderful, compassionate partnership with your body. We are given our bodies as vehicles to use in this physical world. The greater lesson is to live with our body rather than live in it. So how many of you have had the opportunity to take your body type assessment and learn your body type? Good. So you're all fairly familiar with what the whole idea is. So I tend to have the tendencies of air and water. So you may see me from time to time jump from subject to subject. Air and water have a tendency to move around. My very fiery and earthy husband is very direct and keeps on track very well. So opposites attract, which we definitely do. So if you see me wandering around and bouncing from topic to topic, just giving me that grace of allowing me to be airy and watery. Okay?